He killed 5 legionnaires alone, without armor, and this is no legend. This is a samurai. Before him, the legionaries of the Roman Empire, an army that conquered the world. But today, we will examine discipline versus honor, mass versus mastery, and an answer that will shock even historians. The Roman legionary wore armor like a construction kit. The legionary was not just a soldier, he was the engineering product of an empire. His armor, developed in the 1st century BC, became a symbol of Roman might. Armor construction, made of horizontal iron strips fastened to leather straps. The strips were joined with rivets and lacing, allowing for easy repairs. Shoulder guards, massive with curved edges, protected the neck and shoulders from overhead strikes. Weight, only 10-12 kilograms, lighter than a modern student's backpack. For comparison, a medieval knight carried 25-30 kilograms. A legionary could march 20 kilometers per day fully equipped, confirmed by the writings of Julius Caesar. Protection covered the chest, back and shoulders, the most vulnerable areas. But there was a critical weakness, a gap at the right shoulder. A sword or spear could slip through during a side attack. That's why legionaries always held their shield on the left. It covered this gap. The legion's main formation was the tortoise, testudo, the most fearsome tactic of Rome. Legionaries locked their shields in front, on the sides, and overhead, creating an impenetrable structure. That's why their main weapon was the gladius, a short sword, perfect for closing in and forcing combat. Under this shell, they could advance right up to enemy walls, unharmed by arrows. Archaeologists frequently find arrows embedded in shields, but never reaching the bodies. The samurai wore yoroi, clothing of the gods. The samurai was not just a warrior. He was a spiritual warrior. His armor was crafted not in days, but over months, and considered a family relic. Samurai armor construction, made from small iron or leather plates, laced together with silk cords. Plates were coated with lacquer to prevent rust. Each plate was custom fitted to the wearer's body. The helmet, kabuto, often featured fearsome ornaments, horns, skulls, symbols of Japanese gods. Weight between 25 and 30 kilograms, nearly 3 times heavier than a legionary's armor. But the weight was evenly distributed across the body. A samurai could kneel for hours without tiring. However, the armor had to be put on with the help of a servant, a weakness in battle. Protection, excellent defense against direct blows, but vulnerable in the groin and armpits. Enemies aimed strikes there. Also, xiao de monarch gave xiao exposed palms. Samurai wore no gloves to feel the katana directly. This was a risk, but part of their philosophy. The soul must be one with the weapon. Spiritual protection. The samurai believed his armor was sacred and that the god of war Hachiman protected him. This gave him a huge moral advantage. He feared no death. Weapons. Mass-produced sword versus sacred relic. The gladius, killer at close range. Not a beautiful sword, nor the most practical or convenient for legionaries. I've already covered this in a video on my channel. Go check it out to learn more about the Roman gladius. It's short, but the most effective sword in history. Blade length, 50 centimeters. Why so short? Because Roman tactics relied on close combat. The strike, into the abdomen upward to pierce the diaphragm. The victim dies slowly from internal bleeding. Material, Romans used high-quality steel from Noricum, modern-day Austria. Blacksmiths used multi-layered forging, similar to Damascus steel. Though during crises, production was often cheapened for mass output. Analysis of finds in Pompeii showed the steel's microstructure was nearly perfect. Microscopic serrations. Some gladii have tiny serrations on the blade. They increased blood loss. This was no accident. It was military cunning. Tactics. The legionary did not slash. He thrust. After throwing the pilum, javelin, he charged into enemy ranks and used the gladius like a dagger. One stab, and the enemy was out of action. The katana is soul of the samurai. This is not just a sword, it is a sacred object. One blade took months to forge, one master, one sword. Length, 70-80 centimeters, longer than the gladius, meaning greater reach. A samurai could cut down a legionary without closing in. Technology: the blade was forged from over 2,300 layers of steel, then it was quenched in horse urine, creating a sudden temperature shift, making the steel elastic and strong. 2020 studies showed a katana's strength is triple that of a medieval European sword. Sharpness: the edge is ground to a 15-degree angle, sharper than a kitchen knife, can cut through bamboo, iron, even armor with the right strike. Even in the 21st century, the Japanese continue mastering the art of the katana. Tactics: Yaido, drawing and striking in 0.3 seconds. The samurai doesn't wind up. He cuts in one motion from top to bottom. The strike targets the neck, shoulder, or head. Instant kill. Tactics of East and West. Army as machine versus army as mastery and individualism. Rome, the phalanx, the living tank. The legion was not just an army. It was a system. Formations: hastati, young troops in the front line, principes, experienced second line triarii, veterans, third line. All is lost if we reach the triarii. When the first line tires, they retreat and the second line advances. The enemy always faces fresh fighters. Command structure: centurions like modern sergeants, relay orders, trumpets and banners, clear precise signals. Discipline: deserters were punished by decimation. Every 10th man executed testudo, also known as the tortoise formation. Shields locked overhead, on the sides, and in front. Slow-moving but invulnerable. Under this shell, pila rained down like hail. Samurai: bushido, the way of the warrior. The samurai does not fight by rules. He fights by honor. Formations: no mass charges, only individual duels. The samurai shouts his name so the enemy knows who killed him, not foolishness. This is spiritual preparation. Cavalry charges: a samurai on horseback doubles the power of his strike. The horse is a symbol of status and also a combat unit. Psychology: death is not an end, but a transition. The samurai does not fear death. He fears dishonor. This makes him immune to fear. Battle scenarios: who will survive and win? Scenario 1: open field, plain. Rome forms the testudo. Samurai attack in mounted groups, but pila from legionaries knock riders from their horses. The gladius is short, but in close quarters, perfect. Result: Rome wins in 8 out of 10 cases. Scenario 2: night ambush, forest. The legion loses formation. The battle resembles the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, where Germanic tribes ambushed an unsuspecting Roman army. Samurai strike one by one, using fire arrows. Darkness, panic, fear. Result: samurai win in 7 out of 10 cases. Scenario 3: urban combat, narrow streets. The katana can't be drawn fast enough. The legionary uses the gladius at point-blank range. Result: Rome wins in 9 out of 10 cases. So who will win? If the battle is by the rules, open and fair, Rome wins. Its discipline, numbers, and technology are unbeatable. If the battle is outside the rules, in darkness with ambushes, the samurai wins. His speed, precision, and fearlessness are deadly. But there is one truth no one will admit. Samurai did not fight for gold. Legionaries did not fight for honor. And so, the one who believes he has already lost will win. Comment below. Would you fight for Rome or for Japan? Subscribe. Next video: Spartans versus Samurai. Who's stronger? And remember, history doesn't repeat itself, but its lessons are eternal.